Good morning and welcome to Art for Today. It's me, Digital Miss Dykes, and I say that because if you're in the classroom, real Miss Dykes is right there and I don't want her to feel awkward, so. And today we are going to be doing a project, or starting a project, about topiary. Now, topiary, let's say that together. 1, 2, 3. Topiary is the art of forming bushes. So I'm going to show you some examples of topiary. We're going to talk a lot and practice the element of form, or three-dimensional shapes. And I'm going to show you a really cool artist who does topiary named Jeff Koons. So let's get started. All right, so first let's talk about form versus shape. Form is three-dimensional. Either it could be an actual form, like a ball or something you can hold, something in real life, or it is drawn to look three-dimensional. So you can draw a cube and you know it's supposed to be a representation of a form. So 3D. Shape is 2D. That's things like squares, circles, things that if you turned it to the side, you wouldn't be able to see its depth or dimension. So shape is 2D, form is 3D. So let's do a little review. I'm gonna hold up something and look at it carefully, and you're gonna tell me, is it an example of a form or a shape? Ready? All right, if you said form, you are right. Bonus if you know that this is a sphere. So a ball in real life is a sphere. Form or shape? Right, a triangle is a shape. This one's tricky. Form or shape? If you said form, you're right, because even though this is a piece of paper, that is a representation of a cube, because of the drawing of the lines of the sides and the shadowing, you can tell that it's supposed to be a representation of something 3D. Form or shape? If you said form, you're right. Once again, this is a sphere, this is a sphere. The only difference is that this is a drawing and this is the real thing. Form or shape? If you said form, you're right. It's 3D. Form or shape? Good. If you said shape, you were right, because this is supposed to be a square. It doesn't have any of the dimensional lines like our cube did. A few more. Form or shape? Shape. Form or shape? Right, form. This is a cylinder. Form or shape? It's a shape. Even though it's a cutout piece of paper, it's still flat. You can't tell it's a star if I go like that. And last one, form or shape? That's right. Even though this doesn't really have a name, it's an organic form because it is 3D. And if I drew this, it would have shadowing showing that it's 3D. Awesome. So we're going to be drawing some forms today, mainly things like spheres, cubes, cylinders, cones. So you need your sketchbook or a piece of paper, and let's get started on that.
All right, so first we're going to start with some notes on our first page, and then we're going to do some drawing on these 2 pages. Make sure that you're not using a Sharpie. So I'm going to use a marker. You can use color pencils or whatever else you have. If you're at home, you can use the back side of the paper for the notes and the front side of the paper for the drawing, or you can put them on the same side. So the first thing we're going to write is the word topiary. And once again, topiary is the art of forming bushes. So underneath it, you can say bush. The next thing we're gonna write, and we're writing 3 things, is form. And next to form, you can put 3D, because when we talk about forms, we're talking about things that are 3-dimensional. And then the last thing we're gonna write is our artist's name, which is Jeff Koons. And if it's after the remote week, you've already seen Jeff Koons. If it's before the remote week, you will see Jeff Koons in our remote week lesson. As you are waiting for other people to get done writing, if you're in class with me, you can decorate around. But we'll all move on together to the next page. You're not required to decorate around your artwork, but sketchbook art is its own type of thing where filling the paper, decorating is something that we do to make our sketchbooks more interesting, more vibrant. So it's up to you if you want to decorate or not. But I definitely encourage it, especially if you have more time. All right. If you're not done writing, pause now, or I can pause. So the next 2 pages, we're going to draw some forms. Remember, forms are 3D, and we're going to do them on both of these pages. So let's start off with a pencil, and we're going to draw some forms, and we're going to make them actually look like a topiary, or a bush that is sculpted into a form. So the first forms we're going to draw are going to be spheres, and we're going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, so make sure that you leave space. So a sphere before it's shaded is a circle. And then we're going to draw another little one underneath. Now we're going to shade at the end. So you can just draw the sphere, the circles. Once you're done with those, the next one we're going to do is a cube. There are 2 ways to draw a cube. You can draw it by doing a square. It's not really a square, but with a light square behind it. See how it overlaps? Then you connect left corner to left corner, right corner to right corner, this bottom right corner to this bottom right corner. And then you make the other 2 lines darker and erase that inside. Another way to do it is to do a square and then do 3 lines that are at the same angle. And then for the back side, you make a parallel line to the front side, so they both go horizontal. And for the back side on the side part, you do a vertical line. So go ahead and next to your spheres, we're going to make a cube. I'm going to do it the second way, where you do the square first, and then I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 lines that are the same length and going to the same angle. Kind of looks like a table if you turn it to the side. And then the back line is straight across, and then the side line is straight up and down. All right. The next one I'm going to do, we're going to do a cone and a pyramid. So things that are kind of triangular shaped. So I'm gonna do a cone here and a pyramid smaller here. For a cone, you're gonna start with an upside down V. And then you're gonna do a rounded bottom, because if we could see the bottom of the cone, it would be an oval or a circle. But since we can't see it, it's going to just be curved. Then we're going to do another smaller upside down V underneath. But instead of it being a curve, we're going to do another right side up V, but a little wider, like that. So instead of a curve, it's another V. And then see how there's one point here and one point here? We're gonna draw a line straight down the middle. So it's like two sides of the pyramid we're looking at. The last form we're going to do is a cylinder. So what you're going to do is you're going to do an oval near the top. Then from the very far edges of the oval, you're going to go straight down like that. They should be the same length. And kind of like how the cone, how it's rounded, we're going to do a rounded line on the bottom of the cylinder. All right, so now let's make these look like bushes. So the first thing we need are some stems coming out of these. So what you can do, and I'm actually just going to go straight for a crayon, I'm going to make some stems. So coming up, I'm going to go straight into the bush and maybe make some forks or branches off, like a Y or an extra stem. Going to each one of my topiaries. If they're stacked, kind of like this one, you can do it like this, and then coming out from the back like that. Don't go all the way to the bottom. We're going to draw them inside of a pot. Once you have your stems, we're going to then draw a pot so that way our bushes can grow. So kind of like a cylinder, you're going to do an oval that starts at the stem, loops around, and ends at the stem for each one of these. Now you can make cylinders or you can make them a little more slanted. So let's say I wanted this one to be a cylinder. I go straight down and make a curve. I can make this one a little more slanted inward. The bottom would still be curved. It's up to you how you want to do it. But I should have either straight down side to all of them or slightly slanted sides with curves. Starting to look more like a little garden, doesn't it? So now let's talk about shading. And this is going to be kind of rough shading, so it doesn't have to be perfect. But shading is what makes things look a little bit more like a form. I'm going to use a crayon. And we'll do shading first for all the things that are flat on the sides. So these two have flat sides, the cube and the pyramid. So we're going to pretend like the light's coming from this side, and that our shadow is going to be on the right side of our forms. So I'm going to draw this little sun here, just so we remember where the light's coming from. So on this side of the cube, I want you to lightly shade it in with a crayon, or you can do it with a pencil, kind of a gray. Same thing with the right side of the pyramid. Just color it in one color. That's because when the light hits this form, it will stop because of the edge. For everything that's rounded, like the pots on the bottom and these forms, we need the light to go from light to dark. So on the side of your cylinder, you'll start dark, but then you'll fade it until it kind of disappears. So anything that's cylinder can start dark, and then shade and fade it so it disappears. If it's slightly slanted, just start with the slant. Like that. And then the cone, because it's little, the top shadow will be smaller and not go all the way across, but the bottom part will be a little wider. So as the cone gets wider, the shadow also will get wider. So dark to light for the things that are rounded, just one kind of gray for the things that are flat and have sharp edges. Now, spheres don't have edges to start that kind of nice light or dark to light. So we're going to do kind of a moon or a C shape. So you'll start dark. See how I'm moving like a C shape instead of up and down? And you'll kind of fade it going in that C shape like that. Same with this one, like a C shape, like that. Take a moment to try to do your best with the shading. It's okay if this isn't perfect. This is kind of like our practice learning page. And then we can color these in just a second. All right, here's the fun part. When you're done with the shading, you can color this in however you would like. So let's say you wanted to decorate the pots on the bottom, you could do that. If you want these bushes to all be green, that's fine. You could put flowers on your bushes. You could put fruit on your bushes. You could make the bush changing colors like it was the fall. But you can take some time to do this, and if for some reason we don't finish in class, this is one of those things you could do if you have some free time. So you color right over the shadow. That's why we did the shadow first. So that way the shadow looks like it belongs inside of the bush. All right, so remember, yours does not have to look exactly like mine. Your goal was just to draw some of the forms and to do some shadowing and to make them look like a topiary bush in some sort of way. So you can do decorations around it, you can do decorations on them, and also you don't have to as well. As long as you've practiced some forms, you are set for the next part of this project.